never at any point did I reconsider. I really wanted to do it, regardless how painful it could be. I just closed my eyes and pretended nothing was happening. But then after a while, you get used to it. And it's, you know how people say it's addictive to get tattoos? I think that's true. Once you get one, you want more, you really want to do another and maybe another.
Your arm better.
They will not sweep over you. My name is Guy. I am a co-owner of Love Hate Social Club in Notting Hill, London. I got into tattooing at a pretty early age. I was always really into it. When I was 15, I skipped school a lot to go hang out at the local tattoo shop. My first experience was pretty funny. I wanted to get this big tiger, but I only had like $30. So they told me no all day, that I was too young, made me wait all day at the shop. They closed the shop, and at the end he was like, okay, what do you want to get? And I was like, I want to get this tiger. He was like, okay, how much money do you have? I was like, $30. And he just snatched it out of my hand and was like, you're getting the claws. And that was my first tattoo, little claws on the back. And I kind of befriended him from hanging out at the shop. And then when I turned 18, they asked me if I wanted to do body piercing there. And that's kind of how I started, and I've been doing it ever since.
I'm Portuguese. I moved to London 2 years ago. I'm passionate about music, photography, film, and I would say London, the city I live in.
I don't mix in circles where people have tattoos. It wasn't fashionable when I was growing up. Possibly working class women might have had a tattoo, but I think that would have been quite rare too. If they did, you wouldn't have known. It wouldn't have been visible to, they might have had it done, on their torso, but you wouldn't have seen a woman with a tattoo when I was growing up.
I was very, very young when I started telling my mom that I wanted to live in London. I had never been in London before. Just before I moved to London, I came up with the idea of having a tattoo that would symbolize everything that I loved the most in life, to sort of like make it permanent on my skin.
The reason people get tattooed varies, I guess. Some people get it because they love art and they want to kind of immortalize that art on themselves, whether it's a famous artist and they want to reproduce that on their skin, or some people maybe follow a certain tattoo artist that for them he is equivalent to like Picasso or Lucian Freud or one of those, and they want a piece from him, so they want to get tattooed. I'm one of those people. I go collect from actual artists. I don't have necessarily an idea of what it is I want, more like who it is I want it from. And then some people, they just want to get something that means something to them. It could be small, it could be big, but it most likely has some kind of deep meaning to them, reminds them of a certain moment in their life, reminds them of someone in their life. And then there's some people who just get it because, it's fashionable.
A friend really close to me, she passed away, and I just wanted to get something as a mark of respect and to remember her by.
I was visiting a good friend of mine, and I just said, we need to get some tattoos. We party a lot in our friendship. We're sort of party buddies. The tattoo represents Dionysus, the Greek god of sort of wine and merriment. It was pretty representative of our friendship. We found a guy that did one for cheap out of his apartment.
Well, the first tattoo that I've ever done on someone, really, there wasn't really much of a process. The real process was finding the person that would let me do it, But you'd be surprised that for free, a lot of people are willing to do a lot of things. People come here in the past, customers, not just of mine, of other people that have gone to other places and felt like the design they wanted, they couldn't find the right person for it, whether it was the right person, that maybe it was the way they drew the design, maybe it was their attitude and enthusiasm towards the design.
I have 4 symbols tattooed. Those 4 symbols are the things that I love most in life, but they also somehow have a continuity to them. So the order I have them, it kind of represents several stages of my life, from ever since I was a kid up until now.
Some people have ideas that maybe don't work as well as a tattoo, so you have to kind of explain to them why it doesn't work as a tattoo and get to some sort of median that, you know, works as a tattoo, works for you as an artist, and works for them as a client. The majority of people that maybe go somewhere and feel like they didn't click with someone because what they wanted wasn't maybe like, you know, a Picasso or a Van Gogh. You know, even if you want that really kind of, for lack of a better word, maybe silly design, you know, or maybe it's just a little too, I don't know, childish, or maybe not the most artistic thing. I think those people deserve the same exact, you know, as someone who wants something that's really beautiful and a lot more elaborate.
I have a bass clef for music, and that I would say not only because I love music very, very much, and if I weren't pursuing a career in film, it would be in music, but also because it represents my childhood somehow, because I come from a family of musicians. Then I have a photography camera, and that's for photography. And it's not only because I also love photography, but again, because my father is a professional photographer. So throughout my entire life, I was very much influenced by him. Music, along with photography, it's what got me into filmmaking. And then I have one for London, which is London Eye. And that not only is where I am today, there's also a continuity. So music and photography kind of got me into filmmaking and being raised up in a creative family. But then filmmaking somehow also got me to where I wanted to be, which is London.
In total, I have 5 tattoos, I think. The last tattoo I got was this guy right here. He's a cartoon, Rocco. It was my favorite cartoon when I was a child. Face right here, it's, I think visually and symbolically, it means the most to me. It's a logo of a band from my hometown. I've liked them ever since I was quite young.
I would say the attention is a downside. I like the conversation, I just don't like being noticed all the time.
I think when I got this one, I just walked out of the tattoo shop and, you know, it was wrapped in bloody. A guy comes up and he says, "Oh, a new tattoo, I like it, it's very cool." So, okay, thank you.
You know, if somebody wanted to work in the city as you know, on the stock exchange, and they had tattoos that were visible, it probably would be to their detriment. But if someone just wanted to work in a shop somewhere, well, it depends on the shop, but generally I would probably say no.
If I were to have another tattoo, which I will have, it would be my forearm, my right forearm, and I would like to completely cover it with a film strip going all the way around.
I like to tell people I feel like I went to the University of Tattooing. Everything I have in my life is because of tattooing. It's more than a passion for me, it's more of a, I wouldn't even call it a lifestyle, it's just been my life.